10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Celebrating junior bowling, elevating junior bowlers. This is Prodigy Bowlers Tour. 7 kids bowled a 2-game qualifier to winnow the field to 5 for the stepladder finals. For the first time since last spring, we used handicap to give everyone a fighting chance. And here are the final 5. Bowling in the number 5 position is Hunter. This marks the second time America's favorite 9-year-old has made the stepladder finals on Prodigy. Hunter, carrying a league average of 139, is receiving the most handicap pins of any of our players today. But how long can he keep up with the big boys? Hunter will meet our number 4 ranked bowler, Christian. McFluffy is looking for his 3rd win of the season on Prodigy. And if he can get it done, he'll pull out into first place again for the most wins so far this season. The winner of that first match will advance to meet our number 3 ranked bowler, Charlie. Charlie and his doubles partner Tyrell got to the final match in last week's Best Ball Doubles Championship, but fell at the end and finished second. Charlie's still looking for his first victory of the season on Prodigy. The winner of that match will move on to face our number 2 ranked player, Nolan. One of the mid-level average players in our field today, Nolan will be receiving some pins in handicap from any player he might face in our field today besides Hunter. The winner of that semifinal match will bowl for the championship today against our faux tournament leader, Big Logan M. This Logan hails from Stars and Strikes incoming. And despite bowling great on Prodigy in the past, he's still looking for his first Prodigy title. But this may finally be his day. He lapped the field in qualifying. And that's our field today on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Live on tape from Brunswick Zone Roswell in Roswell, Georgia, it's Prodigy Bowlers Tour, a series of unofficial, informal, and impromptu after-league challenge matches conducted by some of the most active and engaged junior bowlers in our youth program here at Brunswick Zone Roswell and around the Atlanta metro area, all in an effort to simulate tournament-style competition in an open play environment. Today, with so few kids bowling and such a wide disparity in some of their averages, we decided to do something we very rarely do on Prodigy, and that's to make this a handicap competition. Longtime viewers of the show know that we almost always bowl scratch, regardless of who's in the field. But today, I wanted to give everyone a fighting chance, so we opted to do a rare handicap event. It worked like this in qualifying. All our players who sport a 200 average or higher received no handicap pins, and those whose average is below 200 received handicap pins each game equal to 90% of the difference between their average and 200. That same system of handicapping will continue in our head-to-head stepladder matches, except rather than adding handicap to both players' scores, if they're owed handicap, we'll simply add the handicap differential to the player's score who receives a higher handicap. Now, before we begin, let's take a look at how we got here. The players bowled 2 qualifying games over 2 pairs of lanes, 1 game on each pair. After the first game, it was Christian who led the way with a 195 scratch and a 203 net, followed by Big Logan M in second with a 189. Charlie was close behind, and Hunter rode his big handicap to a net 173 for fourth, with Nolan in fifth with a net 171. Josh struggled to a 153 with Tristan close behind with a net 148. But then when the players switched pairs for their second game, things got interesting. Josh continued to struggle with a 144 and a total 297 and finished 7th. Tristan put on a furious comeback, but it came up just 5 pins short following a 195 scratch, 200 net for a total of 348. But Hunter slipped past him with a 180 net to put him at 353 and in 5th. Christian fell out of first, firing a 147, net 155 to put him at 358 and in 4th place. Charlie backed up his 184 to start with a 182, and his consistency gave him a 366 total for 3rd place. Nolan finished with a strong 187 scratch, 216 net, lifting him to 2nd place. But in that second match, Big Logan M fired a 246 scratch to put him 48 pins ahead of Nolan and in 1st place with a strong 435 total. They're bowling on the Kegel winding road pattern. It definitely seemed to reward players who kept everything in front of them in most cases, but Big Logan M just overpowered the pattern in that second match as he was scattering pins everywhere. So with all that out of the way, let's get match 1 underway between our number 4 seed, Christian, and our number 5 ranked player, Hunter. Now Hunter receives 57 pins handicap. Christian gets 8. So that's a differential of 49 pins. So when you see the scores pop up on your screen, Hunter will have 49 pins added into his total from the very beginning. So you won't have to add anything in your head. The handicap differential will already be accounted for in the score. And Christian, being the higher finisher, had the option of starting lanes, and as is his usual preference, he's going to lead off. And he throws a whale of a ball to begin, and that is a solid strike for McFluffy to get out of the gates quickly. And he's going to need to because he's got some ground to make up. But now here's Hunter up on the right lane. And he stuffs him 10 back for the little guy. How about that? And he gets a congratulatory low 5 from his opponent. Hunter throws a couple of different balls. They are 11 and 12 pounds. This dark blue one is the 12-pounder. And he gets a Brooklyn to start the match with a double. Let's watch this one again. This one's going to hit the left side of the head pin, and something rolls over and takes out the 10. Watch this now. Christian sees this and says, "Are you kidding me?" All right. Well, he goes high that time. Gave that a little extra juice at the bottom, and he didn't need to. That ball hooked through the nose, and he's got the 310 baby split. One of those splits you can convert by having the ball take both pins out. You just fit it in between like that. And that's textbook right there. Thing about Hunter is he will congratulate you when you make a good shot. He'll congratulate you when you make a bad shot. But that was a good one right there. But Christian's going to need to string some strikes to close the gap unless Hunter gives him some openings. Oh my goodness. Well, that wasn't Brooklyn. That was clear to Detroit. He pulled that one about 2 arrows left of his target. A 138, the best way to convert it is to hit the 1 pin on the left side. Now, I recommend shooting this down the left side of the lane with a plastic ball so that you get the maximum angle on it. But he's going with his strike ball. This is risky here. But he gets it. Didn't give himself a whole lot of margin for error shooting it that way. He could easily have chopped the 1 right off the 3, but he converts it. And he's clean through 3 frames. Hunter up on the right. Finds the pocket again, this time 9 and a wiggle as he leaves the 10 pin. Well, Hunter doesn't get a big, huge backswing like a lot of the players we see nowadays. He went to these 2 balls, the 11 and 12 pounder, when his 10-pound plastic ball that he'd been using for a while chipped, and he had to replace it. And I actually gave him these 2 bowling balls. And he goes with the lighter one at his spares most of the time, like that. And he covers the 10 pin. This little guy would bowl 25 hours a day if he had the chance. Crosses over again, this time breaking up a split. Leaves the 6-10. Once again, he'll pick up his 11-pounder and go cross lane at it. And gets it. So Hunter, couple of strikes, couple of spares. If he keeps bowling like that, Christian's going to need to string a whole lot of strikes to beat him. And we've got a ball change early on. He goes from his Scandal. Actually, he was throwing his Tyrant earlier. And I don't think he's going to be real thrilled with the result here as he leaves the 1-6-10. I would call that the naked super washout. There's 2 ways to shoot this. You can put the ball on the left side of the 1 pin, try to knock it into the 6 and 10, or you can try to deflect off the 1 into the 6 and hope that something takes out the 10. Again, if I was going to shoot between the 1 and the 6, I'd probably want to shoot from the left side of the lane with a plastic ball so I get the maximum angle. And that's why, right there. He goes with his Scandal, which hooks a fair amount, and that ball coming in from right to left on the 1 pin. Doesn't deflect off enough to send the 6 into the 10, and now he has an open frame. There's that Tyrant I was talking about earlier. That ball is his hookinest ball, and he's got to like that one, but he's steamed about that open frame. Now he's 73 pins in arrears. And Hunter will do this to you. He will just keep hitting the pocket. He doesn't generate a lot of revs. He doesn't generate a lot of speed, but he will pepper the pocket or stay around the pocket. And if he can do that and keep leaving makeable spares, he's going to be tough to beat. It'll be a matter of whether he can cover his spares. And so far, he's covered each one he's left. Having a little bit of an issue with the overhead scoring. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Crediting the players with more pins than they actually knocked down. Hunter will go cross lane at the 10. And once again, he covers it. And he gives it a fist pump. Competitive little guy, ain't he? Well, that one drifts wide, and he doesn't get it to go into a roll, and he's left the picket fence. The 1-2-4-7. Put the ball left of the 1, let it deflect, and actually the ball on a light ball probably take all 4 out. Let's see if he can do it. Well, that's perfect. That's exactly the way you want to shoot it. Well, Christian's got a tiger by the tail. I think he knows it. Yeah, Christian knows that if Hunter keeps throwing spares, Christian's going to need a string of strikes. He's down by 68. Just a little past halfway through the game. Nearly caught a Brooklyn, but leaves the 6. So he'll go with his plastic ball. About a year ago that he got this T-zone, this orange ball that he's about to throw. He wasn't sure about whether he was going to like having a spare ball at first, but he's figured out how to use it. I think once again we're correcting a scoring issue. Players get 9. The scoring system gives them a strike. We've got it right on your screen, however. And he covers the 6 without a problem. But he needs strikes, and he's only got 2 of them thus far, and they weren't consecutive. Christian with a possible 223 if he goes off the sheet. That'd put a little pressure on Hunter the rest of the way for sure. I think I'd stay with that ball. He's struck 3 out of 4 times on the left lane, but he's still looking for a strike on the right lane. Hunter goes high, and because of his slow ball speed and not a lot of revs, he doesn't cut through the pins like a high rev player with a lot of speed might. And so he breaks down the split. They just all tumble backward. And he's got another 10 pin. He's covered this twice already today. He shoots 10 pins better than I do. Next time I'm bowling in league, I'll call for a relief pitcher when I leave a 10 pin. Hunter, you're up. Well, this one gets away from him, and now he's left himself a very difficult cluster. The 1-3-8-10. Similar to the 1-3-8 that we saw earlier, Christian left and made. You shoot it pretty much the same. The one bad break is that you could send the 3 around the 10. But you got to hit the pin in front on every spare. And Hunter has his first open of the game. Still, the path to victory for Christian is pretty narrow. He's got to strike. Not this time. Through the nose and a 6 pin, so that reduces his possible high score to 203. That would mean Hunter has 2 frames to get 11 pins. I kind of like his odds to do it. Well, once again, he throws that tyrant on the left lane. I think he needs to be throwing that ball on the right lane. All right. Hunter needs 11 pins somewhere. there's 9 of them. About a stone 7 for Hunter. Watch this one again. See his reaction to it. He knows it's good. Oh, man. Takes that light ball, goes cross lane at it, and it falls off into the gutter. So, well, Hunter only needs 2 pins in the 10th frame to win the match. Christian, if he strikes out in the 10th, would shoot 203. Hunter sitting at 202. Well, that's the winning ball right there. That's 8, and that will put him past 203, and Hunter has won his first stepladder match ever on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. And I know he's getting handicap pins, and for you purists out there who don't like handicap bowling, I don't know any other way you could get players like Hunter to have a chance against some of our elite players like Christian and Charlie and Logan M., who will be on the show later. Nolan even, who's got an average about, I guess about 30 pins higher than Hunter's. Well, and I think McFluffy is shook. He just got beat by a 9-year-old. Well, we gave him a lot of grief today. He's wearing a pair of gym shorts that say Lady Patriots on it, and he gets easily embarrassed by such things, which just invites me to ridicule him more. All he had to do was say, yes, I'm a booster. But no, he chose instead to just get red in the face, which just invites more ridicule. Well, Hunter is just dispatched his first opponent in this stepladder finals. Christian will finish 5th, and now Hunter's got a big task ahead. He's got Charlie in the next match when we return.
Bowling in the USA. Bowling in the USA.
Well, midway through match 1, the only question was whether Hunter would need his handicap pins at all to beat Christian. In the end, he did, as Hunter showed a few cracks in the dam, but McFluffy just couldn't take advantage. He needed strikes, and he just couldn't string them. So, with his extra pins, Hunter notched a 220 to 183 win. And for the first time ever on Prodigy, one of our junior varsity kids makes the championship round and then successfully takes a step up the stepladder, winning a match. But that was then, and this is now. We move on to match 2, and this time Hunter's got an opponent who can put up some numbers even on a sport pattern, as Charlie has shown many times over, both on Prodigy Bowlers Tour and on the Georgia Youth Bowlers Tour. He is capable of throwing a lot of strikes, regardless of how difficult the pattern is. Hunter will have his hands full this time. But you know what? The thing about sport patterns is they're going to affect the better player more than the lower average player. A player who doesn't get a lot of revs, like Hunter, it's not really going to matter much to him. That crosses over and misses the head pin left, and now Hunter's left with a bit of a tricky spare, the 1-3-6. You shoot it just like a strike. With the ball between the 1 and the 3, it should take out the 6. There is a school of thought that suggests you play it straight down the left side, but you'd have to have practiced that ahead of time. He's going to go the conventional route, and it just doesn't quite get up. So Hunter with an open frame to start, and you see that he has 66 in the first. That's got his 57-pin handicap added in, so you don't have to do any math in your head. We've done it for you. And Charlie rips the rack to start, and I think a more experienced, skilled player might get that message. I'm not sure it's received by Hunter. It might have been lost on him, but Charlie just put one on you, Hunter. That was a big-time strike right there. Ooh, and that was a big-time break right there. That goes through the nose. He had the 6-7-10 looking at him for just an instant. Here, we'll see it again. This ball will go through the nose. And I think it's the 2-pin that just tipped out the 7 at the last second. So Charlie gets a reprieve by not leaving the split, although we've seen Charlie make a lot of splits on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, but I wouldn't want a steady diet of shooting the 6-7-10. Or the 4-7-10. My goodness. So this time Hunter will be challenged, and he doesn't get the break that Charlie got. And that might have been because he doesn't generate quite the same ball speed. But knowing Hunter, he'll go for it. Oh, and he went for it boldly, too. But another open, so it's back-to-back opens for Hunter. And that 57-pin advantage that he had to start is getting whittled away. But he steamrolls the pins in the third frame to get a strike, and now Charlie will be up on the right lane. Now, this is the kid who won the coveted trophy pin last year and gave it to Hunter. So these two are pretty close buddies for being so far apart in age. And Charlie just rolls right over him that time, slaps out the 10. That's a solid strike. And if there is a player in our field who is capable of stringing strikes on a sport pattern, it's this guy right here. Not that way, but he'll take it. Charlie crosses over. We'll see this. It'll be the 3-pin that goes to the wall and trips out the 6. Oh, my goodness gracious. When's the last time you saw a 9-year-old leave a stone 7-9? Watch this. The ball just chops the 5 right off the 9. Look at this. He can't believe it. He can't. I can't believe it. Well, you just go for the count. But no, he misses them both, and now that's 3 opens in 4 frames for Hunter, and his 57-pin advantage in handicap, his lead is now down to 10. Well, broke up the split. This is one of the easier spares he's had in a while. And he covers the 3-pin. I think sometimes Hunter just uses those two different bowling balls just to speed things up. I wouldn't mind seeing him slow down a little bit. He doesn't need to be in such a hurry to go. Charlie slipped at the line, and the result is a difficult spare. The 3, 6, 9, 10. This is difficult enough that we should probably show you how to make it. Put the ball right on the 3, favoring the 6 pin. The 6 will take out the 10. The ball should drive through and take out the 9. Just like that. Every once in a while, you'll see players use their spare ball to go at that. I recommend using a ball that hooks anytime you have double wood, because you got to get that ball to drive through and take out the pin in the back. Oh, that one seemed a little wide, but he gets it anyway. Well, that's like stealing one right there. Watch this. That ball was in the weeds. And I'm not sure what tipped out the 2 pin, but he'll take it. Another pocket hit by Hunter. And a spare that he made a couple of times in the previous game. So you would think he would have pretty fair amount of confidence at this. Oh, he pulled it though, and it misses on the left. And so now that is 4 opens in 6 frames for Hunter, and his lead is down to 2 pins, and Charlie has a strike working. So it's now a matter of, can Hunter stay with Charlie, essentially scratch, for the next 4 frames? Long enough to stave off a Charlie comeback. Well, pretty tall order for the young man. I know a lot of kids a whole lot bigger than Hunter that couldn't do that. Well, we'll see. That's why they play the game. Oh, that one breaks high, and he's going to get a 7 count. 10 pin thought about going. The pin setter will respot it, still wiggling. You see Hunter mirroring the action of the 10 pin. But he covers the 3, 6, 10. That's a good conversion. And Charlie's going to check out the approach where he slipped last time. He puts a little powder on his thumb so that he gets a quick release with his thumb. It's good advice for people. You don't want to squeeze it with your thumb. You got to get that thumb out quick. But he pulls it a little left and leaves the 3, 6. So he squanders that opportunity to move out ahead of Hunter, and now has a tricky little spare. And he chops it. Well, well. And Hunter's lead grows to 14, while Hunter sits on the bench. So Charlie will have to regroup and try to get a little string going. That's a good way to start. Right in the pocket. Hunter goes to the rosin bag. Keep his hand dry. dries off his hand on the hand blower. These are all good habits to get into. Ball goes Brooklyn, but he leaves an easy one, the 5-pin. Loses a pin in count. But as long as he can convert it, he'll stay out ahead by double digits. Gives this one a little extra room, and he converts the kingpin, the 5. Watch his reaction. He'll run this one out. Gives it a little body language. Hunter gives it a little body language on just about every shot. Now in league, we won't let him get away with running out the shots like he does on Prodigy when we know there's no one on the adjacent lane. So before anybody gets on him about his lane courtesy, he knows. Comes up high, manages to break up any wide open splits that might have been thinking about staying up, and leaves a relatively simple 4-7. Cross lane. Oh, that ball's got a hook. Oh, by the hair on your chinny chin chin, young fellow. Watch this. This ball just barely grazes the side of the 4. It goes in the gutter and just tickles the 7-pin enough to get it to go. And there's the double Charlie was looking for. And now we've got a match that's down to 1 pin. 1 pin separating these two going into the 10th frame. This is what you want handicap to do, to give both players a chance to perform in the late frames. And now it's just who can make the shots. Oh, that's a little wide. And he leaves the 2. A spare here would force Hunter to at least mark in the 10th. So with a strike, Charlie will finish with 203. Well, it's going to be a nail biter. Ten pin stops him. So a 202 to finish. And that means Hunter is going to need to fill 18 to win by a pin. Now he's working on a spare, so he's got to watch his count. Oh, there's 9 on the first ball. So he must make this and fill 9 more on the extra ball. Got to have this one. All right, he's got the spare. And now it's down to the very last ball. Hunter needs 9 to win. 9 or a strike. 8's a tie. 7's a loser. And he did it! The upset of the century as Hunter sneaks by Charlie and will move on to the semifinal to face Nolan next. Now, bring the spirit of Prodigy Bowlers Tour to your bowling center with Prodigy Bowlers Tour t-shirts and sportswear, including collared shirts with the Prodigy logo printed on the back to show that you support junior bowling. Check out the entire assortment of Prodigy t-shirts in the Brownswick store. Visit PRODIGYBowlerstour.com to see the selection. See the ash gray Celebrating Junior Bowling, Elevating Junior Bowlers t-shirt, or the Who Will Win the Coveted Trophy Pin t-shirt. Or maybe you'd want the one that says, I've come to get my bowl on, right on the front of the shirt, or simply, Bowl Me. There's a t-shirt that says, Bowling. You probably don't get it because it's mainly for smart people. And if you're a proud parent with a junior bowler, we've got a t-shirt just for you. And how about this t-shirt? You're bowling an 8th grader. Prepare to meet defeat. Available in grades 1 through 9, most in both adult and kid sizes. And finally, the shirt that reads, Bowl better, have more fun, take lessons. Then maybe you can keep up with me. The Brownswick store is powered by the people at Cafe Press, and all of these shirts are available right now. Just go to PRODIGYBowlerstour.com and click on the link to be taken right to the store. PayPal and credit cards accepted. That's PRODIGYBowlerstour.com. Get your bowl on and bring the spirit of Prodigy Bowlers Tour to your house. Order now. Go to PRODIGYBowlerstour.com. That's PRODIGYBowlerstour.com. A look back at Hunter's winning ball, and easily the best reaction shot we've ever seen on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, as Hunter edges past Charlie by a single pin. The final score, 203 to 202, including Hunter's handicap. And Hunter has now won 2 matches today and moves on to match 3 to face Nolan. But this time, Nolan won't be spotting him as many pins as he's been getting. Nolan is not a 200 average, so the handicap differential in this match is considerably less. Hunter will only be receiving 28 pins this time. Can he keep the momentum going, or will Nolan finally break through for his first appearance in a stepladder championship match? One of these two will take a big step forward in the next 20 minutes. The two players exchange handshakes, and we're ready to go. Nolan, being the higher finisher, has elected to start the match. He wants to finish last, so he'll know what he needs, if he needs anything, when he gets to the 10th frame. And he stuffs one to start. That's high flush right there, 10 back. Here's another look at it. Watch this, right in the pocket. Can't do it any better than that. Hunter says, I'll take your high flush strike and give you one right back. He may not throw it very hard, but if you can get the ball into a roll, it'll do the work. Hunter kind of flipped that one rather than rolling it off his fingers, and it never got into a roll that time. So, missing the head pin, he leaves the 1-2-4. There's a few ways to miss this, so see what he can do. He can make it. And once again, you see that he would have 20 in the first frame on a strike and a spare, but we've added the 28-pin handicap differential into his score. So as we follow the match, you'll see that the scores reflect the handicap already added in. But no one's only giving up 28, whereas the other players were giving up about double that, give or take. And this one goes high. And he leaves the 3-6-10. This spare poses its own little challenges. There's a few ways to miss this, but if you can put the ball right between the 3 and the 6, it will go. And once again, as I've mentioned before, we're having a little difficulty with the overhead scoring. The electric eye, which scans the standing pins and counts them, maybe needs to have its lens wiped clean or refocused. Not sure exactly. That's why they have mechanics and people who know how to fix things like that, instead of yokels like me who really don't have a first clue as to why it's not working. But in any case, we got the scoring corrected, and now Nolan will go for the spare. And he covers it easily. So, 20 through 2 frames. Let's take a look at Nolan's game. For starters, he begins with the ball out to the right. You see this? We'd like to see it more under his right ear, right about there. And then he sets it in motion in the swing. When he gets to the top of the swing, the ball's in perfect line with his head, but look at his right forearm. It's at a completely different angle than the swing. And then he gets to the bottom of the swing. Again, the ball is in perfect position, but his right forearm is way out to the right, not in line with the swing, so he loses all his leverage. It's no wonder he gets no power. Now, there were a couple of great players on the PBA that swung with a crooked elbow. The great Don Carter, but his arm was pretty much in line with the swing.
It's a double for Don Carter.
And the greatest bowler of all time, Earl Anthony.
Just about like Don Carter, except he's left-handed. Short backswing, bent elbow.
Again, right in line.
Very low profile, extension, just tremendous accuracy, smooth roll.
If Nolan could get that elbow in line with his swing, he might have something. Now, he also throws a pretty light ball, and I'm at a loss. I'm trying to remember if he said it was 10 or 12, but it's no more than 12 pounds. I tried to offer him a 14-pounder. I had some spare bowling balls in my arsenal and offered to give him one, but he said, nope, like the one I got. It slips off his hand that time and falls off into the channel, and there's an open frame. So Hunter's lead grows to 40. Crossing over, gets a going away Brooklyn mixer and leaves the somewhat unusual 6-9 spare. And again, I think it gave him 9 instead of 8. So Hunter's doing the corrections himself. He's a multitasker. Oh, that would have made the 6-7-9. He cut that 9-pin so thin, but that's a spare for Hunter. And he'll move over to the left lane, try to keep it going. Well, that's the way you keep it going right there. High flush strike for Hunter, and he's liking it. And now a new feature on Prodigy Bowlers Tour as we bring you this week's Prodigy Selfie. You know how at the beginning of every episode we tell you that the show is best viewed full screen? Well, here's Mason Stimpson and his dad Tom in Nampa, Idaho, showing how it's done. They're watching the Woodstock invasion from a couple of weeks ago on their big screen TV. So take a picture of yourself watching Prodigy full screen on your big screen TV or on your computer with the show in full view in the background and you in the foreground, and send it to me at randy@prodigybowlerstour.com. We might just put it on a future episode of the show. Be sure to include your name, the city in which you live, your age, and which episode of Prodigy you're watching. That might be kind of fun. And if you're a member of our Facebook group, which is called Prodigy Bowlers Tour, you can post your selfies there. I'll pull them down. All right. See if Nolan can get back on track. Gave that one a little extra lift. That's one of the problems with throwing a lighter ball, is that it's real easy to give it a little extra at the bottom because the weight of the ball doesn't offer much resistance to you doing that. Doesn't take a lot of time with the 9-pin and doesn't need a lot of time with the 9-pin as he converts it easily. And once again, the scoring system gave him a strike, so we'll have to go in and correct that. Obviously, the score is correct on your screen, but on the screen inside the bowling center, it was wrong. This tripped us up a couple of times in the last couple of matches. We did our best to keep up with it. Hunter is a resourceful little guy. He can just go ahead and manage it himself. It's frustrating when this kind of thing happens because it's hard for the bowlers to get into any kind of rhythm when they're having to stop and wait, manage the scores. Nolan's liable to just head up to the snack bar and grab some fries, which he never shares with me, by the way. I always offer for him to share them with me. I say, "Oh, thank you. I'll take one of these." And then he takes his plate of fries and walks away. He'll have none of it. Well, I should have brought a deck of cards. Seems to be a bit of confusion here. There's only 10 pins. This can't be that difficult. All right, I think we've got everything straightened out now. Yeah, the most important thing to know is Nolan needs some strikes to catch up unless Hunter backs up. Well, there is the effect of a light ball. That was a good shot that he just threw. But the ball deflects to the right and goes around the 5. And he leaves the 5-8. That is a leave that on a pocket hit you would never see players like Charlie or Logan leave. Not because they're better, but just because they're throwing heavier equipment. That's okay. We'll get Nolan to move up to a heavier ball eventually. But he's got to want to. All right, well, there's Hunter nearly shaking them up. He's throwing the same weight ball as Nolan. I'm pretty sure Nolan has more arm strength than Hunter. Although, to be fair, I think that 12-pounder may be a little heavy for Hunter, but we'll see. This 12-pounder that he's about to grab, the blue one, I forget what the green one is, but the blue one is a Storm Reign of Power, which was out a few years ago. And he throws it through the nose and leaves the 3-6. But I tell you what, Hunter is laying down the blueprint for how to beat these big kids in a handicap situation. You just leave makeable spares and then cover them. Force them to have to string the strikes to beat you. Another look at his spare conversion and his reaction. I told you earlier that if you're fortunate enough to watch Hunter live at the bowling center, you'll see a lot of animated reactions. Crossover, leaves the 5. An easy spare, but he needs strikes. There's a good one. When I first met Nolan a few years ago, I worked with him a little bit and tried to get him to straighten out that right arm. I couldn't see a reason why he would want to bowl with a crooked elbow. I think it's more a preference. I asked him, do you have any physical limitations that cause you to do that? Sometimes you find players that do have problems with their elbow or something in their arm that prevents them from bowling with a straight arm delivery, but he said no, didn't really have any problem with it. He just bowls that way. He's always bowled that way. I think if we could get him to swing it more like a pendulum, he'd generate more power, even with the lighter ball. And that one goes a little bit wide. And on this sport shot, it will not recover out there. On the house shot, it might. The 1-2-4-8. You shoot it just like the 1-2-4. Put the ball between the 1 and the 2. The ball should drive through and take out the 8 or send the 2 back there to do the damage. Oh, but he hooks by the 1. You got to hit the pin in front. Every spare has a key pin. That's the one you have to hit. It's always the pin in front. And that ball started to slip off Hunter's hand. We saw Hunter on a recent episode of Prodigy practicing on the adjacent pair of lanes, and in the middle of his backswing, the ball slipped off his hand and fell on the floor. We almost saw that happen here. But he caught himself and did the smart thing. Went back, hit the rosin bag, dried off his hand. But now that ball went way left. And I don't know, I'm starting to see a little fatigue set in. He already bowled 3 games of league in the morning. This is his 5th game on Prodigy, counting the 2 qualifying games. And that 12-pound ball may be just a little too much for this little guy. Nearly slipped off his hand in the last frame, and then he didn't quite control it well enough. It went way left. Uh-oh. And this time it slipped off his hand and into the moat. Maybe time to put that 12-pounder away, at least for the rest of the day. He loses 10 pins in count. Now, if he can spare here, he can keep some distance between himself and Nolan. He goes to the 11-pounder. It doesn't come up. That is a disastrous 8th frame. 0 on the first ball, losing 10 pins in count, and then losing 4 more. And his lead is down to 28. So we're right back where we started, with Hunter and his 28-pin handicap differential. And now it's on Nolan to finish strong here and try and put some pressure on the little guy. Nolan's funny. He might lay an egg, but every now and then he'll drop a little 230 on you. Not that way. Pulls it way left. And we talked about the direction of his forearm in his swing. Showed you that in the coach's clicker earlier. That, as much as anything, is what costs him not only leverage and power, but direction. But he throws a good one there and gets the spare. So the situation is this. If Nolan strikes out in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, he'll shoot 190. Hunter is going at a 198 pace. That means if he goes spare, strike, spare, or strike, spare, strike the rest of the way. So Nolan needs some strikes right now. Didn't get up. That reduces his possible score to 177, which would mean Hunter would need a mark in either the 9th or 10th, and good count. But first things first, Nolan's got to make this. He has no more room for error. And this time he covers the 1-2-4, so he's still in it. And Hunter heeded my advice and put the blue ball away, and he puts that one in the pocket. Leaves a 10. He's had pretty good success shooting 10 pins today. I think he's 3 out of 4, if I'm not mistaken. That would be 4 out of 5. Okay, so here's the situation. Nolan has a possible 177. Hunter is sitting at 168 right now if he throws the next 2 in the gutter. If he gets 5 on the first ball, he wins. He's going to step back and... All right, here you go. You need 5. I think that'll do it. That did it. So Hunter has climbed the stepladder all the way from the bottom, and now he's in the championship match. I'm not sure anyone would have predicted this. Maybe he would have. I know it's handicap, but it's not 100%. It's only 90%. And it's only 90% of 200. Charlie has an average of 208, I believe. Logan M., who we will see in the next match, he has an average of 215. So Hunter's had to overperform his average and skill level. And his average this year in this young season that just began, what, 6 weeks ago, I believe. His average is a good 15 pins higher than it was last season. So it's not like he's, started out with a low average on the year. He's actually way over where he was at the end of last year. Nolan misses way left on his first ball and leaves a 5-pin cluster here. And he covers it. So let's see a strong fill ball, so at least you can go out on a high note. As we see Big Logan moving into position, getting ready for the final match. There you go. He finishes the way he started, with a high flush, solid strike. But it's Hunter who is moving on to the championship match, where he'll face Big Logan M next. Prodigy Bowlers Tour presents Legends of the Game. Today, we honor one of the greatest bowlers of the 1960s, Billy Hardwick. Since the age of 15, Billy Hardwick was a creature of his neighborhood bowling centers. He worked as a janitor at the local lanes and would make most of his money hustling other bowlers. He got so good at it, he soon had sponsors kicking in enough money to put him on the PBA Tour. During his rookie season in 1962, Billy Hardwick failed to cash.
In the first 3 games he ever bowled, Billy scored 79, 87, and 69.
But the following year, in 1963, he won 4 times and was named PBA Player of the Year. He fought arthritis throughout the latter stages of his career, but his most serious injury nearly cost him a career in bowling. He injured the ring finger of his bowling hand in a machine shop accident while still in high school, and that finger would not bend. So he couldn't put it in the bowling ball, but he improvised and learned to bowl with his thumb and index finger and middle fingers in the ball. The result was a freakishly straight ball, but one he was a magician at controlling. In 1965, he won the first ever PBA Tournament of Champions.
It gives me a great deal of pleasure to present to you the first trophy for the Firestone PBA Tournament.
He was named PBA Player of the Year a second time in 1969, when he won what at that time was a record 7 titles in a single season.
Smooth as silk.
He was the first player in PBA history to win all 3 of bowling's major championships, known then as the Triple Crown. In 2008, Billy Hardwick was ranked number 12 on the PBA's 50 Greatest Players of the Last 50 Years list. Billy Hardwick was a pioneer. He was the first professional athlete ever signed to an endorsement deal by Miller Brewing Company.
Billy puts it this way: you've got to have real desire and dedication about anything you do if you're going to do it right.
Today, Billy's legacy lives on in his son, Chris Hardwick, longtime host of the Nerdist's All-Star Celebrity Bowling, a YouTube sensation.
The Nerdist Channel presents All-Star Celebrity Bowling, featuring Team Fallon.
He didn't bring his own bowling. I didn't bring my ball. I did not have my bowling ball, which really evened out the playing field. Normally I bowl very well. Some would say it's not fair.
Chris Hardwick is also the star of NBC's The Wall. And a few years ago, Billy's son Chris helped his team to victory in the Chris Paul PBA League All-Stars.
Now Chris Hardwick must step up, keep the string alive. And the lead is 28 once again. Wow!
I have the power!
But what Billy Hardwick is remembered for most is his uncanny accuracy and his penchant for winning. Billy Hardwick, a legend of the game. So, the magic continues for Hunter, as he not only took care of Nolan, but he beat him scratch. But Nolan bowled well to get to the 2 seed. He just ran into a kid who seems to be on a mission today. But now the task grows considerably more daunting as we move into the championship match, and Hunter now must face the hottest bowler on the lanes today. Logan M. is coming off a 246 his last game of qualifying and seems to have a game that's ideally suited for this oil pattern, as he just overpowered the lanes. Now let's see which of these 2 bowlers can keep it going. This is going to be a real David and Goliath match. On the overhead scoring, we've had just letters, and Hunter has been the same letter throughout, but this time Logan M. decided to switch it up, thinking that might change Hunter's luck, but Hunter gets a Brooklyn strike in the first frame, and he says, "Yeah, I'll take any letter you want." And they all go down. And, well, Logan M. saw him get away with a Brooklyn, so I guess he just decided, I'll try that. Doesn't work quite so well for the big guy. And he leaves the 5. And he makes short work of it. Well, Big Logan M., a product of the youth program out at Stars and Strikes in Cumming, Georgia, about 12 miles north of Brunswick Zone Roswell, where we are today. I live about halfway in between the 2 centers. I've actually bowled league out at Stars and Strikes before. It's a nice house. I like it. Oh! Wow, he wound that one up, and it came back hard. And he has paid the maximum penalty. The big 4, the 4, 6, 7, 10. Not much you can do with this. Just go for 2 and hope something bounces out. But he leaves some pins on the deck, and that will cost him in count. So Hunter's 57-pin lead grows to 74. And he puts another ball in the pocket. He's been doing that a lot today. Hunter has only broken 200 once in his life, scratch. That was in practice. But this little guy, as he gets older and bigger and stronger, he's just going to get better and better. He loves this game and loves being around it. The funny thing about Hunter is, even though he's shown his competitive side today, he's also gotten up and given a high 5 to his opponent on, well, just about every shot. These big kids are his idols. And he whiffs the 10-pin. Well, we haven't seen him do that all that often. He missed one earlier, but that is a mistake. So the 2 players exchange opens in the early going. And he tries that Brooklyn side again on the left lane without the same success he enjoyed in the first frame. Leaves the 6-10. Once again, going cross lane at it. Tell you what, I think that 11-pounder might even be a little bit heavy for him. I know that he handles it pretty well, but what I would really like to see out of Hunter is a little more follow-through, where he brings his arm up and through on the shot, like you see with the big kids. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Well, watch this. I believe it's going to be the 3-pin that comes off the right wall to trip out the 4. How about that? I may have even gotten a piece of the 9 as well. Wow. And there's a big double. And big Logan M says, I'm here too, buddy. Through the nose, he gets the 10th one to shake, rattle, and roll, but it won't fall. And so Hunter has the 6-pin left. As long as he stays clean, he has a pretty good chance. 51 pins is a lot to make up on a sport pattern. Although Logan M can do it. I mean, he did shoot 246 his second game of qualifying. His first game, he shot 189. I don't know if that'll be enough, but if he can throw a high 2 again, that one gets away from Hunter. And now he's got a difficult spare. The 1-3-5. That back pin makes this tricky. You got to hit the 1 pin fairly square to get the back pin out, but you don't want to chop it off the 3. This is easier if you throw a heavier ball. But Hunter threads the needle and makes the spare. Watch this. He doesn't have a lot of leeway with that lighter ball, but he covers the spare. Oh my goodness gracious. Stone 9. Well, you know, they say on a perfect strike, the ball will touch just 4 pins, the 1, 3, and the 5 and 9. But watch this, the ball actually finishes behind the 8 pin and chops the 5 right off the 9. And that's why you'll leave the 9 pin. It's not as perfect a hit as you think. He covers the 9, but he needs to string some strikes. He's only managed 2 so far. But maybe he can get a little string started right here. There's still plenty of time. Well, that one was gone. As I sometimes say, every once in a while you just have to open the barn doors and let them run. Put that ball left of the 1 pin. Just like that. Well, five frames left for Hunter. Can he run the entire stepladder? Has he got enough left in him? High hit. Leaves the 3-6. He's been really good on his spares all day. He's just missed a very few that were what I would term makeable spares, spares you would expect to convert. Oh, but that one goes just a little wide, and you're starting to see the effects of a little fatigue set in, I think. The lead shrinks to 39 with 4 frames left. Can Hunter hang on? He puts one in the pocket and nearly rips that 5 over into the 7. It tried to go. But a very makeable, fairly easy spare for a right-hander. 7-pin. He goes right at it and takes care of it. Now you knew I had to do this. Two very different styles side by side. A lot more ball speed out of Big Logan, of course. But they both find a way to get it done in their own way. Well, Logan M has got to be thinking, okay, what do I have to do? He's thrown some awfully good shots this game that weren't rewarded. And that not being one of them. The 3-6-9. Got to get enough of the 3-pin to where the ball will either drive back and catch the 9 or knock the 3 into it, but you don't want to chop it off the 6. Oh, and he goes with his plastic ball and he still hooks the snot out of it. How do you do that? But it is a spare. But now it's getting late. Logan M running out of frames. Changing out the score again, another mistake on the overhead. And Logan a little distracted by, you see he's now stepped back twice. Now he's doing the smart thing, put the ball down and just go through your routine all over again. Really, just don't even let the scoring bother you. We'll take care of it. Crunch. That's about as good a ball as he's thrown all game right there. Hunter gives this one room. It comes in. And again, if he was just a little bigger, a little stronger, threw a few more revs, had a heavier ball, that probably would have struck. That 5-pin wanted to go over and take out the 4 and 7, but that ball just not quite heavy enough to drive through. Oh, look out. And he goes by the 4-7, so the lead shrinks to 29. And the plot thickens here at the end. Hunter 2 frames away from a most improbable win. Can he finish it off? Well, he keeps leaving these difficult spares. The 1-2-4-7. Now, he's made this already once today. Again, you want to put the ball between the 1 and the 2. A lighter ball like what he's throwing will usually deflect onto the left, and the ball will take out all 4 pins. See if he can do it again. Pretty good little spare shooter, I'd say. Take one more look. The ball is got so few revs you can practically read the label as it goes down the lane, but if you put the ball in the right spot, it'll usually do the trick. Watch his reaction. Yeah, baby. All right, Logan M with his back to the wall now. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, not only does he not strike, but he gets a terrible break as something takes out the 6-pin, and now he's got the 9-10 baby split, and he must make it, or he can't win. And see you later. Hunter has won the championship match on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. The best Logan M can do now is 182. Hunter's already got that beat. Well, who would have predicted this? Really? Even with handicap. I surely wouldn't have expected Logan to lay an egg like this in the championship match. Not this kid. He's too talented. And he's not happy. Now he's really not happy. Well, he's probably thinking this is a haunted house for him. Well, we are getting close to Halloween. A stone 8. Well, it didn't matter. At least he didn't leave it on a shot he needed. See how hard he throws this one. He took some off of it. Well. This is quite unexpected. Well, if you're going to leave it, you might as well leave it there. Logan is dazed. And Hunter gets 9. He already knows he has this match wrapped up. And now he'll go back to the heavier ball that he set aside a while ago, as he knows it is academic now. Covers the spare. Well, before this final match even started, Hunter's dad turned to me. He said, "This is the best day of Hunter's life." And that's it. This is the final shot of a most improbable journey. Hunter's big adventure. He has run the stepladder today, and it is Hunter who has won the championship. And we'll get his name on the coveted trophy pin when we come back. If you bowl Youth League in the Atlanta metro area and would like to have Prodigy Bowlers Tour come to your local bowling center, have your youth director or general manager get in touch with me by emailing me at randy@prodigybowlerstour.com. We're looking to fill some dates this season and would love to take the show on the road to where you are. And here's some exciting news for those of you who live outside the Atlanta metro area and would like to have Prodigy come to your bowling center. We're currently working out the details of a pilot program that would enable us to have Prodigy tour cities all over the country. You've asked for it, and we hear you. It's too early to reveal the details, but stay tuned. As soon as we get this pilot program together and have ironed out the kinks, you might soon be the next host of the soon-to-come Prodigy Bowlers Satellite Tour. Keep watching Prodigy to get more details as we can reveal them. So Hunter's great adventure ends in storybook fashion as he takes down Big Logan M in the championship match. And Big Logan M's frustration on Prodigy continues as he once again is denied his first Prodigy title, this time by a 9-year-old. But if it's any consolation, he wasn't the only one that got run over by this enthusiastic young fellow. And I have a feeling this might just be one of those days Hunter will remember for the rest of his life. Well, well, well.
Yes.
As I live and breathe.
Yes. This is better than everything. This is better than the first time I've ever been in a stepladder versus the 4 times I've ever been a winner on the littles. This is just the best thing ever.
Today is 10/21,
Okay.
2017, a date you will probably not soon forget.
I won't. This is the best day in the world of Hunter Moffett.
So now I gotta ask you, what were you thinking in that second match when you got up in the 10th frame and you knew you needed 9 spare 9 to edge Charlie by a single pin?
Oh, that was the most intense match I've ever been in. And I knew that I needed 9 spare 9 because he told me. But other than that, I've been pretty good. I mean, scores like 171, 149, 167, and 158. They're not going to get you last place.
So I'd say you bowled pretty good today.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Coach Randy. Yes.